Well, ladies and gentlemen, so today we're gonna be steering forward towards 12th Lord in the 8th house. And what happens when you have 12th Lord sitting in the 8th house? And as always, if you do not know where your 8th Lord is placed, where your other placements are for your horoscope, for that check out the links here and check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light. And remember, my magazine came out, which is regarding career and destiny and all these other mega articles from these mega astrologers. So check out the links here for that, as well as right on the front page. It's called Astrology KRS. Probably this is the only magazine I'm going to do for the next 2 years, because they say I got so much more other stuff to write, so I'm not going to be doing the magazine anymore. But this is the juice for your destiny and career that you've always asked for. So anyway, guys, 12th Lord in the 8th house. Well, so what is the 12th house? 12th house represents isolated places like hospitals, jails, asylums, monasteries, foreign lands. It's a house of expenses, losses, bet pleasures, addiction. It's your secrets subconscious world where you daydream. Whoever daydreams or loves to daydream, which pretty much is 90% of the population, it's your 12th house. Okay? And so what happens when this planet goes into the 8th house? Well, what is the 8th house? Well, 8th house is similar to the 12th house. It's a house of secrets. It's a house of things buried underground, things unknown, mysticism, mystical things, occult, tantric, sex, sexual counters, your in-laws, your married life. So this is like really an easy one, for you to understand what will be happening when this goes into the 8th house. Well, your subconscious secret world is going into the secret things. And what this shows is that, first of all, you love to experience either sexual activities or sexual encounters in private. You don't talk about them to anybody. But also remember, 8th house is a house of death and rebirth, transformation. So you get transformed in your sexual relationships, in your addictions, in your bet pleasures. If somebody's addicted, too much addiction can lead to what? Overdosing. So, which is 8th house. Shows that through foreign lands and through foreign travel, you experience this great transformation. Those people, actually, my neighbor, I was just talking to him like a couple of days ago. He's like, I was in Canada, I came to California, stayed there for 2 days. Next thing you know, I'm going back, packing up whatever I can, and I'm moving here. This is where I belong. That's what happens. He was suddenly transformed coming to a different place, different land. At the same time, these people are clearly interested in the occult, clearly interested in investigating things that nobody else wants to talk about, things that nobody else wants to share. And since 12th house represents expenses and losses, shows your expenses and losses really comes from finding transformation in your sexual life. Losses comes through sexual encounters. You kind of put a lot of your energy, money, whatever you want to call, a lot of your assets towards sexual relationships, towards addiction. So the more you go towards addiction, the more you're losing your true self. That's what happens. However, this in Vedic astrology is also known as Viparit Raj Yoga, meaning when a planet from the 6th, 8th, or 12th house exchanges its place between 6th, 8th, or 12th house, becomes a Viparit Raj Yoga, meaning a reversal of fortune. So shows again that through addiction, by being an addict, by being in isolated places, by visiting foreign lands, by diving into spiritual life and spiritual things, you find a positive transformation. Perhaps like all those people that you hear who were alcoholics, and after they suddenly went to rock bottom, they decided that they wanted to do something about it. So what they did, they opened up their own rehab clinic for people who are suffering like them, because they did not find the solution out there. So what happens is now suddenly their fortune changed. They're making millions of dollars from their rehab centers. Perhaps your sexual encounter with someone transformed you spiritually. You're like, no way, there's no way I can. Like pretty much a prostitute turning into a nun. From negative to positive. Somebody who suddenly realizes that they do not want to be in this kind of situations of having these secret affairs, having these secret sexual encounters, and suddenly they feel transformed. They're like, no, I want a one person, I'm a one person, woman, one person man. So these are the transformation that goes through. And also because of the fact, 12th house represents hospitals, jails, asylums, shows that because of the 8th house events, you kind of land into these things. Perhaps through sudden transformation, sudden things that happen, you land yourself in hospital. Perhaps you need a surgery, so you're suddenly in hospital. Because it's always sudden with the 8th house. Okay? Suddenly, like with certain planet, you might find a transformation where from becoming a stockbroker, you become a monk. So this is why the 12th and 8th axis of the Viparit Raj Yoga really is more positively transformative towards spiritual things, towards spiritual life, or towards the darker side of life. You'll see many, even criminals with these places, who love to see blood and death as their subconscious, to kind of heal their subconscious mind. I think I saw the horoscope of this guy, Richard Kuklinski, if I'm not mistaken, he had the 12th lord in the 8th house, where his secret subconscious world was all about death and darkness and seeing blood and bodies all over the place. So again, this is not always the case with everybody. You just have to see how your other planets are placed. So maybe you grew up in a great environment, yet simply you're just, kind of addicted to a cult. Your addiction is a cult. Your addiction is mysticism. And through that you find this great positive life in yourself or around you. You perhaps became a psychic or astrologer yourself. Instead of being a killer, you became an astrologer. So all of these things can be seen with this house. But there's this connection of spirituality and occult. Anytime 8th goes into 12th or 12th goes into the 8th, there's always this interest. Okay? But depending upon what planet is, controlling this, we'll kind of differentiate that. So let's just talk about that. So let's say if Sun was controlling your 12th house and Sun went into the 8th house. Well, guess what? Sun is exalted here. And what this shows that your personality ego developed by facing the hardship of life. Your personality, ego, and self-esteem developed by perhaps facing deaths. Facing death of your father transforms your life. Facing death of gurus. Perhaps seeing your government fall transformed you as a person. Perhaps you were born in Afghanistan and in 1999, and by the time 2003-4 came, you saw your government fall. You were in Iraq, you saw your government fall, and that kind of transformed you and shaped you. Yet it shaped you for the better. You kind of became this tough person. Dive to the deepest part of their own self and find the light there, because Sun is light. And so you try to find positivity in all the negative things, and this is why you become great motivator. You can become a great spiritual person with this, because now Sun is a Sattvic planet and it's the highest dignity in Aries. It kind of exuberates and illuminates the lighter side into the dark. So you become this great motivator to people. People who might be addicted to things, you kind of bring them out of that. People who are addicted to sex, you may bring them out of that. Yet you are just this person who has seen a lot in their life. Let's say if Moon controls your 12th house and Moon goes on the 8th house. This shows this person should not be working in a regular field like an engineer or doctor. These people are always into some world, some dimensional world. And because the 8th house is so unpredictable, we do not know how this mind is going to react. Either they'll be so much addicted to perhaps drugs or sex that they kind of like kill themselves through these things. Or the mind is extremely into occult, mysticism, wanting to find the darkest secrets of life, so they become great writers or tantric healers or healers in general. They become psychics. because now mind is always is bringing the other dimensional world into the depths of your own world. So life and death, they perhaps have a lot of dreams where they're seeing death, or they're seeing ghosts, they're seeing mystical things, they're experiencing things that nobody else has experienced. Now in this case, if you have negative impact on your moon, sure, this can actually not only take you towards negative habits, but may actually have you encounter negative things that are unknown, kind of like demonic things, ghostly things. Very easy and common placements for a moon here. For people who always experience black magic like this, here a person can become a victim to black magic because of the fact the frequency of the moon was getting the raises of the sign it's placed in the 8th house. So now the mind was set up in that. Let's say if Mercury was controlling your 12th house and Mercury goes into the 8th house, this shows somebody who becomes a great scientist. Very scientific mind, investigative mind, somebody who wants to kind of like dig deep into either solving people problems, facing people emergencies like an ER doctor, somebody going into DNA, or somebody simply a physicist wanting to find darkness of death or secrets of death. What is death? You have many people wanting to explore this. Shows that this person may do business in foreign lands, things related to death. Kind of like somebody who becomes a mortuary business person, somebody who goes and takes care of insurance things related to insurance can happen with this. They become great tax accountant in foreign lands because 8th house is also taxes for the government. But here their communication is very secret. Whatever their life is, it's all about dealing with secrets. So they might be attorneys, they might be government people or government professionals who have to hold on to a lot of secrets. Perhaps they're medical doctors who has to hold on to a lot of secrets of their clients' information. Yet they just do not blab things out. They make great mystery writers, great writers of death and sex and rebirth. That's what they like to communicate about. Let's say Venus controls your 12th house, goes into the 8th house. Here Venus can show somebody who is greatly addicted to sex, somebody who found transformation through relationship and women and sex, somebody who has been burned through sex and relationships and being kind of cheated by women. Here Venus can find its creativity through facing the hardship in relationships, kind of like people who become poet like Dev Das. People who may write the greatest romantic novel by facing their own demons in their life. Yet every time this person does something creative, they dig deep into the experience that they have in their life because they do experience these things. They do go towards, the most powerful sex followed by the most powerful breakup because it's just sudden explosions of love, romance, and relationships. If Venus is receiving any bad aspect, it can take a person into bad habits, whether it's alcohol, sex, prostitution, porn industry. It can do all those things. Somebody can become a sexologist with this, advising people on relationships and their sexual lives. Let's say Mars controls your 12th house. Mars goes into the 8th house. This shows somebody who kind of becomes this great engineer of the things that are buried underground, like somebody who uses their technical talents for bringing petroleum out, bringing gems out, mining engineer. These are the people who can go towards either criminal activities or becoming government agents. These people really like to fight and dig deep for their inner truth. They have this warrior mentality to just digging deep into things. Yet, whenever it comes to addiction, they can either go straight to the darkest side, or they're the people who will resist addiction. Like there's these two black and white avenues with Mars. He either said, oh no, I will never do addiction and I'm going to be the one who will bring you out, or he'll be like, I'm diving into this, I'm becoming a drug dealer. But Mars here kind of becomes, again, like the sun, because he kind of has this ability to motivate people. He has this ability to have people rise from the darkness of their moments and pulls them out like a soldier who says never leave anybody behind. How they say in US, we don't leave anybody behind. So this kind of a Mars shows that you will get a help from your brother who might bring you out of great, dramatic situations. Or your brother might put you into dramatic situations. Your male friends might put you into really bad situations. Or male friends might bring you up in the darker situations. It depends on how you want to look at it. But these people make great detectives, great investigators, policemen, soldiers. Anything that has to do with secrecy and serving the government, that's where this Mars can be very useful with. Let's say Jupiter controls your 12th house, goes into the 8th house. Jupiter is what? Jupiter is a natural counselor, advisor, teacher. In the 8th house, Jupiter is curious about kind of exploring the psychological patterns of people. So here Jupiter can show somebody who wants to become a psychologist, psychiatrist, going into clinical psychology, criminology. Jupiter really wants to gain the knowledge of why people behave the way they behave. What is there in their subconscious mind that ticks them? Or Jupiter can make somebody an astrologer here. Jupiter can make somebody a tantric guru here. Or somebody who becomes a great financial advisor in foreign lands. Let's say if Saturn controls your 12th house, Saturn goes into the 8th house, shows somebody who can be successful in insurance business. Because Saturn is the karka of the 8th house and insurance. Somebody who is really disciplined and organized about dealing with death. You're prepared for death. Saturn here breaks your ego down about death. Since childhood, you knew you were going to die. Since childhood, you faced things where you knew death is just around the corner. And Saturn here kind of made you really dive into dealing with people emergencies, dealing with handicapped people who, perhaps had emergencies regarding their bones. So here a person can become a great, chiropractor or somebody who deals with bones and, arthritis in their field. And Saturn can here make somebody a jail warden, a government bureaucrat, somebody who deals in taxes. Because remember, nothing is certain than death and taxes. So tax agents are seen with Saturn. But Saturn here shows that, first of all, he prolongs your life. He suppresses the things of the 8th house, meaning that sudden ups and downs are not really sudden ups and downs. They kind of come slowly and creep in. But what happens with this Saturn is that he may block your sexual pleasures for a long time. Like these might be the people who hardly ever experience sexual life until they get married. Or they kind of not go towards addiction. They never have this, they have this strong willpower towards not having to have an addiction. Or Saturn, remember, Saturn is also chemicals. Saturn can definitely make you dive into drugs as well. Saturn and Mars kind of do the same thing here. It's either one extreme or the other. But here, Saturn, you have to be very careful how you see Saturn. Because here, Saturn can either, make you very lazy about your spiritual practice, make you very lethargic and kind of give you chronic illnesses. Or here, Saturn can make you cure other people's illnesses. Saturn can make you really push other people to their maximum, work ethics. Yet they're very strict about their, discipline about spiritual life and spiritual progress. Okay. So guys, this is my analysis of 12th Lord and the 8th house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And again, if you want to know all the secrets of astrology, my magazine, books, and all the other options, including career consultation, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.